All right, guys. What's going on? Today is Thursday, and that means that we are having a date. Please let me know where you guys from, where you're located right now, and drop your questions so I could know if you have anything on top of what we are going to discuss today. And I do have a topic that I want to share with you, and that is the US business visa process. What exactly needs to be done before you start working on your case. All right, and um, I'll be more general in the beginning, and then give you more details on exact type of visas that may differ from what exactly you need to be doing in order to get the approval for this type of visas. So stay tuned. I will let you know, guys, how you can get a free evaluation of your case for a business visa. And uh, I know that a lot of you guys be like, okay, Stanislav, the economy is not good, and why would we want to get the business visas in 2024? I'm a big believer that the best time to actually go into the market is when the things are not good. Okay, because when you go in and things are not good and you manage to survive and build the infrastructure for your business and the processes and do the regulations and when things are getting better, you start expanding exponentially. All right, and I think this is something that what we need to strive for, because growing in the growing economy is easy, but to do that you need to have the basis for your business. That's why I think now is a really good time to start working on your business visas, and we're going to talk about this. Okay, before we begin, I'm going to review the recent approvals that we have on the company. We just got a fresh approval this morning for a makeup artist. The very difficult case, we filed it back in August. We got an RFE, very strong RFE on the part of the immigration officer. I cannot say I agreed on everything that the immigration officer was requesting from us, but there were some good points that he made. I built a strategy on to respond to this letter, and we filed the response, and we got an approval today. What is good about this case is that the makeup artist, and you guys would think, okay, makeup artist is a woman, but there you go, he's a man. The client is a male, so that's unusual to have a male makeup artist and anybody in the beauty industry who are not female. Again, we never discriminate in our company as long as you have the achievements, recognition. We can get you an approval. Okay, and this is another case for our company with a good success. We got a fresh approval for EB3, the classic EB3 for the marketing specialist. And if you guys didn't know, the marketing specialists are not favored by the immigration services because they do believe, and I think that's a fair statement, that there are a lot of marketing people in the US. So every time when we file the PERM, the labor certification, and the I-140 for the cases like this, we always expect some pushback from the USCIS because those are not the best cases to go for. However, if you do everything by the book, they cannot do anything. They just can't. So this is the second approval for EB3 for marketing specialists this year, which I'm very proud of because those are really hard cases to push through the system. We managed to do this for the second time this year. So it's 2-0 between us and USCIS on marketing people for EB3. for the classic EB3 with the perm, with the labor certification, which are very long cases, could take 2 years, 2.5 years, but we are successful in those cases too. Congratulations to our client. We did not meet last week because I was a little sick, so there were a couple of approvals last week. We got also the second approval this year and the second approval in the history of my company for a foreign attorney, guys. Okay, foreign attorney is also very, very hard case. Why? Because just historically they're very hard to get approved, and the first case we got approved with no RFE a couple of weeks ago. This fresh case for another attorney from Russia, we got an RFE, we responded to it, and we got an approval, so which is really good. And another good case, another marketing specialist, but EB1A, extraordinary person. I think those cases are much stronger for the purpose of getting approval because EB1As, they are for people with a lot of talent. And if we have a marketing specialist who has achievements, those are much better cases than EB3. All right, so those approvals we got for these past 2 weeks. Congratulations to our clients. Those are really good cases. Okay, so let's now switch back to the main topic of today's stream, the visa process for business visas in the US. Okay, and of course, what are the first question, what are those business visas? And they are L1, E2, EB5, and of course, sometimes we file O1 visa in a business category, sometimes EB1A, and sometimes EB2 NRW. All right, so don't be confused that only L1, E2, and EB5 are the classic business investment visas. We also can get you in through your business ideas, through your investment, through other type of visas. And you guys don't know yet, but I already mentioned that in my Russian-speaking channel and my Russian-speaking media, that the top 1 priority visa for 2024 is going to be O1 visa. Okay? Dexpel, thank you for the kind words. Always happy to see you on my streams. Yes, and you guys should know and take it deep into yourself that O1 visa is going to be #1 best visa for any category to come to the States in 2024. Why? For a couple of reasons. #1, that it's relatively easy visa to get. Okay? And mind that no visa is easy, but relative to each other, O1 is not the hardest visa to get. So that's the reason #1. Reason #2, there is no limit to how many visas in O1 category we can get approved. Okay, so if we get 1,000 cases, 20,000, 30,000, there is no limit. There is no limit by the country. So you guys from India, that's the way for you to go. Okay, in many cases, O1 is probably could be the only option for Indians. I mean, of course, L1 is also a good option, but that requires a lot of investment and a lot of other things. We're going to talk about this later today. So O1 visa is really good in business, in IT, in education, in sports, whatever it takes. Okay, if you're an engineer, if you have an employer, and even if you don't have an employer, that's the third reason that O1 is good, because your own company could become an employer. So you register your own company under your name, and that company could become your employer for the purpose of O1 visa, guys. So mind that. Those 3 reasons, I think, really strong arguments to make a case that for the next year, O1 visa is going to be the priority for a lot of people. And last but not least, it's a fairly fast way to come to the States. Why? Because once you start doing your O1 visa, from the time you started working on your O1 visa till the time you'll be able to come to the States, approximately 8 months will pass. All right? So 8 months, and I know for some of you it's like, oh my God, Stanislav, what are you talking about? 8 months is a lot of time. Yes, but not in the immigration field of the US. When we're talking about year and a half for EB1A, maybe 2-3 years for EB2NIW if you're not from India. Yes, L1 visa also going to be 8 months, E2 maybe even shorter than that, but those visas requires investment and other things going. O1, just show me your recognition, your achievements, or we can work on this for this next 6 months, get you approved, and you come to the States. So we're going to talk more about these guys at the end of the year, because we're going to be discussing all the successes, all the achievements that we've been doing this year, the trend for the 2024. So we're going to talk more about this in the following streams, and we're probably going to have 2 more streams this year. So maybe three streams. So make sure you come to those streams, because they're going to be more general. So we're going to be discussing more things that happened in 2023, what were the foresights, the insights for this year, where we did good, what we didn't good well, and most importantly, what's going to happen in 2024. Okay, and I know that some of you are still hesitating. Should I do this? Should I not? Well, definitely you need to come and see what I'm going to foresee for the next year. What's going to be the best way to tackle coming to the States? So you guys must attend. Okay. All right. Let's look at your questions before we continue with the business visa process. And you guys know me. I like your questions. So drop your questions even if they're not related to the topic of today's stream, because I like to see good questions from you guys. Dania, when we submit the EB2NIW I-140, do we get the priority date as per the submission date of I-140 or as per date of the decision? And the answer to this, the date of submission. Okay, very important question. The date of submission. So when did USCIS actually receive the petition is your priority date. Okay, and I think Dania, you're probably asking this question because you're thinking maybe I shouldn't go with the expedited processing because I don't want to spend $2,500 or whatever. I do recommend expedited processing for whatever visa that you guys filing, because my statistics, and I know it's contradictory to what some attorneys claim. I don't know those attorneys. I don't know what they claim. I don't know the experience. I can only work with my experience. We file sometimes up to 50 cases a month. Okay, on average we file like 30 cases, sometimes 20, depending on the month. But that's a lot of cases, guys. That's a lot of cases. Not very many companies in the US file as many cases as we do. Okay, and you guys know that in my company we have 120 people working. Okay, so we have a huge resource to file a lot of cases. So I have a lot of analytics, and the analytics of the cases where we filed with expedited processing, the 15 days or 45 days, depending on the type of visa, the approval rate is a little bit higher. Okay, I don't say okay, just like there's a huge discrepancy. No. It's within the norm, but still 2, 3, 4, maybe 5% if you compare to those cases that filed normally with a normal processing. Those 2, 3, 4, 5% can make a lot of difference. I know it doesn't sound a lot, but trust me, they make the difference. Okay, so I do recommend expedited processing, regardless if you're from whatever country that has a backlog in the visa bulletin. Okay, just because it's going to be a better chance for you. If it's and Dania, that's the first that you have a follow-up. If it's a per submission, then is there any point of spending 2,500 for premium processing? Absolutely, Dania. Already, you see, I foreseen your question. I foresaw it. Yes, it does make sense from my experience. And again, I know for a fact that some attorneys say don't do premium processing. I strongly disagree. Okay, I strongly disagree based on my analytics on hundreds and probably 1,000 cases that were filed. I have a different statistics. Dania, there's another follow-up. If it's a per date of a decision, and it's not the date of the decision, the date of submission. And by the way, guys, EB3 and EB2 Classic with the labor certification, the priority date is not the date when we file I-140, but the date of filing the labor certification. Okay? So if you ever consider EB2, EB3, or you're trying to calculate the dates and priority, you need to remember that the priority date for EB2 or 3 with the perm is when the perm was filed, not when the perm was approved, not when I-140 was filed. No. And those are dates, there's a huge difference between them, okay? It would be a year. So make sure you understand that. With EB1A, with EB2NIW, with EB4, EB5, with all non-immigrant visas, that's the date of filing, the date of submission. If it's per date of decision, then can we do the change of status within the US, meaning we travel to the US a month prior to visa bulletin and then we file I-485? Well, so Dania, a few important things that I need to explain to you. Let's say you have a tourist visa, and again, make sure that you understand. Dania, I don't know where you're from. So if you could write a country, that would help me a little bit. So let's assume you're not from India, and let's assume you have a tourist visa because if you're from Europe or you're from mostly from Europe and you have ESTA visa waiver, you need to understand that you cannot adjust your visa waiver program even if you have an approved EB2NIW. Okay, so make sure that you understand that you're adjusting your either student visa status or your tourist visa. Okay, so that's that. Okay, Pakistan. So I would assume that you have B1, B2. Yes. Okay. So then there's no problem here. You can adjust from B1, B2 after 90 days of you being in the US. Okay, so provided you have an approval and you entered the United States, and you need to wait at least 3 months before you can adjust, provided that your priority date is current. Okay, or if it's not current, but the USCIS allowed to adjust on the date of filing. And when I say date of filing, I mean the visa bulletin. Don't get confused with the date of filing of I-140. The date of filing, a priority date in the visa bulletin. And Dania, I know you come to my streams a lot and you watch my YouTube videos, so you know what I'm talking about, right? That's the second table in the visa bulletin. So, like, if you know that they want to do they allow to do this, then you can look at the date of filing as opposed to the priority, the final action date. So that's number one. Number two, and I have to say it because I'm an attorney and you guys need to know it, that of course you cannot enter the US on B1, B2 visa with intent to adjust your status in 90 days. Okay? So, Daniel, make sure that when you actually come to the States, you don't have that intent, all right? And I know it's kind of funny, and you see I'm smiling because we're kind of talking about this, but I cannot advise you to do this because it's illegal, and no licensed attorney can do this. Like say, hey, just come to the States, and then you adjust. I can tell you only you have an option to adjust in 90 days after you entered the US with non-immigrant intent. Okay, so Daniel, I hope you get my message. Dickspell, can we go for E2 on B1, B2 and start living, working in the US, and after a few months file EB2 and IW on the same business that we bought? Absolutely, Dickspell, absolutely. And again, same message to you, Dickspell, the same thing with Daniel, okay? You cannot do this from having that intent, like, okay, so what US CIS and immigration law prohibits you from doing? Just what you actually just say, just thinking like that, okay, whatever the country that is, I'm gonna come to the US on my B1, B2, then change my status to E2 visa, and then file for EB2 and IW. So that train of thoughts is illegal, okay? But you'll be like, Stanislav, who's gonna know? Well, no one's gonna know, okay? Unless you say it. Unless you say it when you enter the country. No one's gonna know. And of course, I cannot recommend you to think that way because it's illegal. But we can discuss this. We can hypothetically discuss it, okay? So, Dickspell, what you need to change in your way of thinking is that you wanna come to the US on B1, B2 visa for the touristic purposes, and maybe explore the business opportunities. Okay, so this is your way of this is your legal way of thinking, and of course, when you come to the States and you want to go to shop at Aventura Mall, you want to go Sunny Isles on the beach, on South Beach, and enjoy the weather, and then you meet people and they say, hey, we have a good business for sale, and like, oh my God, show me the executive summary, show me the finances, and let me do the due diligence, and you like it, and there we go, opportunity presents itself. Okay, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna seize it because this is a great opportunity. They offer me a really good business for $300,000. I have the money, and I already spoke with Stanislav. I went to the complex immigration planning, and I know that my money is clean. We can prove it. Let's change my status to E2. Okay, so that's the proper way of thinking and doing this. All right, and then you buy the business, we change your status, you got E2, your spouse can work, your kids can go to school, no problem, you have 2 years time to start scaling your business, and then we find out, oh my God, but this business is in the national interest of the state. Wow, so maybe we'll file NIW on the same business. And if we can prove that, okay, we have the good education, we already have exceptional ability, and definitely the business is, in the nature of the business is resolve some problem that's in the national interest of the states, there you go. We'll file for EB2 and IW, just I-140, for 2 reasons. Because the priority date is like a year and a half almost, and we are on non-immigrant E2 visa. But when the time comes, and that probably will need to renew one more time your E2, so 2 years pass, we renew for another 2 years, and at some point in that time frame, or maybe even early if we're lucky, we get the chance to adjust your status on your approved EB2 and IW. And no problem. We can do this. We need to do one more thing when we do this. You need to give up your E2 status. So that's an additional form. Don't worry about this. When we start working, I'll give you the form and everything. So there's an additional paper that we need to file in order to do all this properly. And once we get that done, all good. You get the work permit and advance parole on your EB2 and IW. Same with your spouse, your kids as well. So we just wait for the green card to arrive. All right, so this is a great scenario. I really like it. Of course, a few things need to line up: your source of funds for the purpose of E2, and the nature of the business. That should be good business for the purpose of EB2 and IW. Or maybe you hire a lot of people in that business. Maybe you have 15 people or 20 people working at business, and we can claim the economic interest of the US government that we have a lot of jobs created. So that could be one of the options to go. Didi, can you give us example for the path from E2 to green card? Sure, like the previous example. I can give you more. I can give you more. Will this declaration you sign that you'll return to your home country after E2 cause an issue when you try to change your status in the US? Didi, good question. Good question. It could cause problems. However, if you do everything properly, and the proper way is to have an additional petition that you give up your E2 status, so that kind of resolve the problem in itself. Because okay, I know it happens at the same time, but technically, first you give up your E2 status, and then you request the adjustment of status. Okay, so technically your paper that you signed that you're gonna go back, you kind of gave it up. So it doesn't apply to your case. But because you already have an approval for whatever, EB1A, maybe E2 and IW, maybe EB2, EB3, the classic perm labor certification, then it's already not a problem. Okay, and things could happen, but we usually resolve all the problems that come up. So let's talk about other examples, switching from E2 to the green card. And by the way, by way of a recent example, Didi, if you were in the beginning of today's stream, I was telling you guys about the recent approvals, and there was a recent approval for EB3, the marketing specialist. Okay, the EB3, the one that I mentioned. So that EB3 came from E2. So the client, he's from Kazakhstan. He came on E2 visa to the States. And when he came, we started working on his EB3 case through the labor certification. And time passed, about 2 years passed, we got him approved, everything was good, the labor certification, we got I-140 approved. So now we're going to be filing I-485 for him, and he's going to give up his E2 status and ask the government to adjust his status to EB3 through the labor certification. Okay, so that's another example of how you can go through E2 to the green card. I'll give you two more examples. E2 to EB5, when you reinvested about $1 million in your business and you created 10 jobs. We can go that way. That doesn't happen too often, but I have cases like that. And also, last but not least, is EB1A. EB1A as a talented business person. Okay, and trust me, guys, trust me. It may sound daunting, like, oh my God, I'm not talented, I don't have recognition, I don't have achievements. I know that could be the case, but if you have enough motivation and if you really want to do this, if you want to get EB1A from E2, it's possible. And I have proof of that. Not one, nor two, and not even three, but more cases like that. When my clients came on E2, and let me give you an example. A client from Ukraine, she came to San Francisco on E2 visa about 2 years ago, and probably 3 years ago. She started her business in wedding decorations, okay? And wedding decorations and wedding accessories, so whatever. And she brought her like vision, like her Eastern European, Ukrainian vision, how the bride should be dressed and all the everything that surrounds the wedding. So and then I built her a strategy for EB1A, and for 6-7 months she basically did what I asked her to here in the States, and we filed EB1A. We got her approved. through her own business, through her expertise, being a businesswoman in wedding thing, accessories and decorations and dresses and whatever. And she did that in the US. And you guys know it's much harder to do in the US, the EB1A case, as opposed to when you're in your country, like in Pakistan, in Ukraine, in Russia, in Kazakhstan, in Argentina, in Venezuela, because it's easier to be recognized on the level of your country than on the level of the US, okay? But she did it. And I cannot say she had like, a really strong case in the beginning. She basically had no case in the beginning, okay? But we worked on it and she did everything that was needed and we got her approved, okay? So there you go. I gave you already 4 ways how you can go. And those 4 ways under your control. And of course, and you guys know, I don't do like political asylum. I don't do like family cases. Maybe you get married to an American. I don't know. That's also the possibility. Maybe you file for asylum and get approved. I don't consider those because those things not under your control. Okay, like you give your fate, your future to somebody else. Okay, we're talking about when you actually can control what's happening. EB1A, EB2NIW, EB2, EB3, maybe less control because you rely on somebody else's company. EB5, your own investment. Okay, so those are really good ways. They all the ways that I mentioned, I have cases to prove it. Okay, so you can rely on my experience on that. Done. Hey Shamayev, hey Dan. Just saw one of your videos and saw you were live. I was wondering what kind of visa would you recommend for someone who wants to work in the porn industry from Europe, small follower base. Great question, guys. I'm waiting for my first porn case. Okay, I cannot wait to get it approved. I'm honest with you. I'm laughing. I know it's fun, but hey. I can get you approved on at least 2 visas. It's O1, O1B, okay, or EB1A. And yes, I did not have a single porn case yet. And I definitely will because I asked the universe to bring me some porn stars in my company just for the fun of it, okay? Just for the fun of it. And I know for sure I'll get it approved, okay? So for you, Dan, absolutely. O1B, if you have an employer here in the States, and the porn industry, it's legal, absolutely legal. So and a lot of porn stars have a lot of achievements and press coverage. And the competitions and the world records, the Guinness World Records, don't ask me what those records could be. Also the showcase, right? All porn stars have the showcase. We can watch and see how you guys perform. And again, I treat it absolutely professional. Absolutely professional. I have I don't have porn stars, but I have models like Playboy models. I have EB1As approved for cases like that. Okay, and I love them because they're beautiful. The beautiful body, the beautiful pictures, the magazines, all these photo sessions, and of course we want the male immigration officer to get the petition like that, right? Of course. But I'm sure if it's a strong petition, I'm confident that every immigration officer will approve it. So O1B and EB1A are the ways to go. Potentially E2 could be the way if you want to establish your own porn company and shoot the videos and employ the American employees, and why not? And I can see that you can easily invest $100,000 in an idea like this, or even more. Potentially L1. If you work in a company, in a bigger company that produces this kind of content, and they want to open up an affiliated company here in the States, and they want to transfer you so you could start working here, why not? We can consider that. But I definitely, the top ones are O1B and EB1A. Didi, is E2 visa considered dual intent? No. No, Didi, absolutely not. If L1A is a dual intent visa, H1B is a dual intent visa, O1 in certain areas is a dual, but not for the purpose of immigrant intent, but E2 is a straight classic non-immigrant visa. So when we apply to, and that's why those questions, and that's why you ask me that questions, because you know you have to sign that paper that you're going to come back, and that's another proof of your non-immigrant intent. So yes, that's the way it is. With the idea in mind that you won't have to prove non-immigrant intent and make visa approval easier, thoughts or suggestions? I guess you're asking, Didi, like how you can prove your non-immigrant intent when filing for E2 visa. And the question is good, and the answer should be also good, right? So first of all, we need to show, if you go through the embassy, because if you change your status in the US, like your statement is enough. Okay, they're not gonna demand more than that. They're not gonna like ask, okay, show us your you have businesses, you have assets in your country, that you have your family in the country. No, they're not gonna. I've never seen the RFE for E2 visa here in the US when we change the status requesting that type of paperwork. Just a statement is good enough. But if you go through the embassy, that's a different story. You need to persuade. You need to make sure that the consulate, the consular officer believes you that you're gonna come back. So it's also advisable to show that you have attachment to your motherland, to your country. Okay, so and that could be your assets, your property, your family, your businesses. That you travel a lot could be another reason that you can show, like, hey, I don't need to like immigrate to the States because like I'm living good in my country. So basically it comes down to that your lifestyle and the level of your comfort in your country is high enough, okay, as opposed to what you will get in the US. And again, sometimes it's subjective, but yeah, you need to show like you're really good, you have no problem in your countries, you're successful, so there is no reason that you just bluntly want to immigrate. Okay, so that's the bottom line when you go to the embassy. Okay, Treasure, hi Stanislav, hi Treasure, extending E2 case. I'm getting a 100K USD funding for a flower business. Oh, we have a lot of experience with flower businesses. And I'm on a tourist visa. Will that count as my investment for E2? Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. 100K is going to be good enough investment for a flower business as well. I even had the flower business with like $70,000 or $80,000 investment. So 100K is good as long as we can show the source of funding for this 100K. And I'm not clear. You were in the beginning, Treasure. You were talking about extending E2Ks. So when you're talking about extending E2 case, that sounds to me that you already got an approval for E2 and then you want to extend it into years. If it's misspelling or maybe a misunderstanding and you're just starting the business, then yes, no problem. You're gonna in 90 days, not earlier than 90 days, file for your E2 case. You get 2 years approval, and then you need to extend in 2 years unless you left before to get your visa stamped in the passport in the embassy. Okay, because changing your status in the US does not give you the visa in the passport. All right, and I hope you guys understand it, because the concept of visa and the concept of status are two different things. Okay, visa is to enter the US. Status is how long you can stay in the US after you enter. Sometimes E2 visa could be given for 5 years, but when you enter the US, you have only 2-year status. Not 5, but 2. Okay? So we need to understand those little details, but they're very important. Okay, do not forget, guys, to get your free evaluation for your business cases. I drop you the links. And Treasure, make sure you do it if you haven't done it yet. Fill out the questionnaire so I could see what's going on with your case, and then come back to you and tell you if I see the potential of your future E2, L1, or EB5 case. And everybody else, guys, make sure you fill out the questionnaire. I dropped you the links in the comment section. Done. You're welcome. All right, Denado Shkoza. Hi, Stanislav. Hi, Denado. If I apply with 100K investment aka E2 visa and finger crossed been approved, do I have the right to work for another American employer or only for my company? Really good question, Donato. Absolutely, you are stuck with your company. Okay, you can only work for your company. However, you may provide services to other companies depending on the nature of your business. And of course, that's we need to go in depth to understand what's going on. But you can provide services through your company as an independent contractor to other businesses and just get the payment through your company into your business. That I don't see the problem. And of course, like if you claim that you're going to be I don't know, selling flowers, okay, you want to open up like Treasure, you want to open up the flower shop in Sunny Isles, okay, or maybe in Miami or in Brickell, and then you provide the consulting services for engineering company, I don't know, for IT company, through your flower shop LLC or a corporation. I mean, that's kind of weird, okay? That's kind of weird. And probably no one ever gonna know about this, but in itself, it's kind of a violation of the status, okay? With this being said, Denado, consider filing your E2 case, not for yourself, but for your spouse. Provided A, you have a spouse, and I don't think it's a good idea to just get married because of this reason, guys, okay? Don't get me wrong, I'm a family guy and things like that, but probably not a good idea just for getting this thing done. Sometimes that's my advice to my clients. Let's get approval for your spouse, provided your spouse have some experience in business or maybe some education in business, okay? And then she or he will get E2 visa, but you also will get E2 visa. And the spouse of E2, the dependent of E2 petitioner, is going to have the work permit. You guys get it? So, you, Donato, can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So get E2 visa, come to the States, and be able to work anywhere you want and still support your business, okay? Help your spouse to run the business. So I think this is a great option to consider, provided that you have everything that it takes to do this. What if? Hey Shama, hey, what if? I'm still new to your channel, but I want to transfer my business to the US from the South Africa. What do you think is the next step for me? All right, I don't know why, guys. We're just getting a lot of business from South Africa, and I mean like my immigration services. We're just getting a lot of clients from South Africa. We're filing just a case for EB1A at the final step. We have a bunch of L1s from South Africa. We have a bunch of O1s from South Africa, some EB2 and IWs. So for whatever reason, I guess things are not good in South Africa. And I think that's the reason why you guys starting coming to looking for opportunities. And I think this is a good thing to do, okay? And I love my South African clients. You guys are just amazing. So your first step, what if, is to fill out the questionnaire, okay? It's a little bit above your question in the comment section. So, and there is a below. So I duplicated it, okay? So find the free evaluation. It's E2, L1, EB1C link. Click on it. Fill out the questionnaire. I'll look at it and I'll get back to you and I'll tell you which visa is better for you, which criteria was satisfied, and the next steps, okay? So that's definitely your first step to come to the States and to work with my company. Treasure, no, I don't have E2 yet. Source of funding is from a friend in the US who will use the US bank and from LLC and put money there in the company. Treasure, don't do anything if you're serious about your E2 approval, okay? Please, don't do anything of whatever you mentioned. Not because it's bad or it's not right, because it could be bad or not right, okay? Unless I approve it or another licensed attorney, please don't make those steps happen, because you can do them, but you cannot undo them, okay? Why I'm saying it? Because first of all, even because your friend is from the US and has US bank and everything, it doesn't necessarily mean or prove that his funds, his money, are clean under the immigration law. Okay, that's number one difficulty that you could face. And also, he cannot, or she, your friend cannot directly put the money in the LLC. Don't do this. Okay? He first should give money to you, and then you can transfer it to your LLC in the US. Okay? But again, Treasure, if you're serious about this, meet with me first, okay, please. Because you know, I want the success for you. You know, I want to make sure that you get the result. So if you first do whatever you said and then you come to me, we may have to undo everything and start fresh, okay? And that's going to cost you. So make sure that you first know what you're doing. Donado, thank you, buddy. I do get what you mean. Good. I'm happy. I'm happy, guys, when you understand me, when you understand my messages, my subtle messages to you. That's really good. Treasure, thank you for amazing answers. Stan, literally no other attorney does this. There you go. Treasure, you know it. No one is doing this. Only I do this. And you know, guys, I spend my time for you. And I get my hourly rate. If you do good calculations, guys, the value of my 1 hour is $1,000. Okay? So if I don't work, if I don't do what I'm meant to be, okay, I lose $100,000. I'm willing to contribute it to you guys, to educate you, to bring you value. Okay, because I feel that way, and plus, you know, I feel that I can show you my expertise, that you guys trust me, because I want you to trust me. Because if you don't trust your attorney, things not gonna go well. Okay, because sometimes I will be asking you things to do, and you'll be like, oh, I don't feel like doing this, but I will need you to put trust in my advice. And you guys know I will never advise you to do something illegal. Never in my life. I've never done this. I'm not doing this, and I never will. Everything that I advise you or recommend when you work with my team and myself is only for your best interest. And your best interest is to get an approval. Okay? That's my bottom line. Dania, if I get the O1 from a friend's company in the US and when I arrive and I find a real job, Dania, another job, not the real job, okay? Don't write things like this. Can I judge the employer within the 3-4 months? What will the employer have to do? Absolutely, guys, absolutely. So let's pretend Dania didn't say real job. And I'm sorry, Dania, I don't know if it's a female name or male. Let's assume you're a male, okay? Let's say Dania meant to say another job, not the real job, because if you say a real job, that assumes that the first job was not real. And We cannot do this, okay? It should be real. So let's say you got an approval for O1A for whatever friend, no problem, but it's a real company, it's a real job, and no problem. You come to the States, and then you get an offer from another company that they saw your work, and they're like, oh my God, Dania, work for me. I'll give you a better salary. And you say, fine. All you need to do is to sign the petition. So we need to refile your case for another company. So basically, you already have the case. If you worked with me and that happened within the next like 3 to 4 months, I'll give you like a 50% discount on the filing. Okay. If it's beyond, we need to see what changed, because 3 to 4 months is the time frame that things could change. Okay. But yeah, definitely we can refile, and we've done that. No problem, and you get another 3 years. Okay, another 3 years of O1. So that could be the way to go. Didi, thank you for helping videos. Stanislav, happy that you guys love my videos, and happy to help you. And you guys know why I'm helping you. The goal of my company is to bring 10,000 of you to the States by the year 2030. Okay. So that's the goal of my company, and we're all 120 people working to push that goal, to make that happen. So we are not only interested as a matter of reputation to get you approved, we have a different motivation to get you approved, okay? And that's the goal of our company. So we brought more than 2,500 people already in the States. So I hope if at least one of you who is present at this stream, if we help you, I don't know who you are, maybe it's you, Didi, maybe it's Adeyemi, maybe it's Dan, maybe it's Donado, that's like personal success for me, okay? Because if I spend an hour to get you trust me and the quality of my work and the quality of my team, and you hire us and we do a great job for you, get you approved, and you come here with your family, and it's not already one person, maybe it's 4 people, your spouse and your kids. That's a personal win for me. That's a personal win, and you guys know I love when it happens. Adeyemi, thank you, Stanislav, for these live sessions. Thank you for your love, guys. You know I love you too. I love when you appreciate what I do for you. That's amazing. Siva, hello. If I have a company in India with 51% ownership, okay, do I need to work for that company in India, or can I work from US to file for EB1C, considering I have a similar company in the US also? Excellent question, Siva, excellent question. So, for the purpose of EB1C and for the purpose of L1, and you guys know what L1 and EB1C, these are the same visas. One is non-immigrant, one is immigrant. Same way as O1 and EB1A. And of course, Siva is from India, and he knows that EB1A and EB2, they're long wait. So, they're long wait, but EB1A, be it EB1A or be it EB1C, is much shorter wait time, much shorter than EB2 category. So that's why we're talking about EB1C for India. It still makes sense. So for the purpose of L1 and EB1C, you not only have to be the owner, you may not, by the way, but in many cases, the client who is doing those visas is the owner of those companies, but it's not a must. What is a must? That you have to be also an employee in that company, and the company is outside of the US. Okay, so basically we have 2 companies, one in the US, one in India. They affiliated through Siva's 51% ownership, and I assume the US company is also you controlling it, Siva. Okay, I assume you don't say it, but I think that's what's happening. So they affiliated through Siva. Now, for the purpose of EB1C, I need Siva to have worked in Indian company for at least 1 year prior to filing or prior to coming to the States if he came on L1 visa. All right? Don't ask me questions why that's the way it is with L1. So we could be here in the US for 2 years on L1, but still count 1 year prior working in the EB1C category company in India. And of course, we need to prove that you, Siva, is executive or a manager. All right, so you have to be executive or manager in India, and we transfer you in a similar position here in the US. How to prove it? With the paperwork. You have your functions, your strategical functions in the company, and each function we need to prove with paperwork. Okay, you do the briefings with your team every week. Show me the minutes of the briefing. You approve the financing, the financing for the next year. Show me the paper that you sign. You work with the key customers. Show me the contracts that you sign. Okay, that's how we prove you're doing your executive or managerial work. And also, the number of employees is critical for EB1C. I want to see at least 15 employees under your control in your Indian company, and at least 8 employees in your American company. Okay? And there must be a structure. Siva, you, managers, subordinates. Okay? You're at the top, then people who report to you, and people who report to the people who report to you. Okay? So that's the secret, that's the recipe for L1 EB1C. I hope you guys understand what I'm talking about. And of course, if you don't, you're like, oh my God, it's too much. Watch my videos. For each point that I'm making right now, I have a separate video on my channel. If you put EB1C, L1, there's a lot going on here. Okay, Daniel, haha, love your style. Yeah, Daniel, I know why you're laughing. Okay, Daniel, let me get questions from you, and we're gonna be done. Okay, Donato, I'll take your questions, guys. So 2 more questions, and we're gonna be done for today. Do not forget to fill out the questionnaires, the free evaluation forms that I sent the links. You can also contact my company directly through WhatsApp. And there's a link also in the comment section. And guys, come for the last 3 sessions we're gonna have in December. We're gonna be talking about a lot of things that happened in 2023. My forecast for 2024 is gonna be a lot of fun, and also bring your questions to those streams. One more question: if O1 is amazing and quicker, no quota, why would the employee choose H1B for his employer? Dania, because they don't know. And it's weird. It's weird that I'm saying it, but that's true. I figured that a lot of these companies, they're like, we don't know what O1 is, or we don't know what the process is, or the attorneys like, we don't know how to do O1 visa. Okay? And I understand why they're saying this, because it's not that you're doing H1Bs and you focus on H1Bs. O1 is not going to be easy for the attorney like that or for the company, because it's a whole new process for them. Okay, so they just don't want to deal with it. They don't want to know about it. Okay, so that's weird, but that's the way it is. And usually those big companies, they have so many H1Bs applicants for the same basically position that some of them is going to win. Okay, so they care less. They filed 20 petitions for the same position. 3 of them won. Good. They filled out the position. They don't want to deal with O1. All right. And I even had some arguments with the. Okay, let me give you a story. I had a client from India. He did three times. He went to the lottery H1B for this company. He never won. Okay. He started considering O1A option. I analyzed his case. He came to the complex. First, I did free evaluation for him. I was, oh wow, I was like, this is a really good case. Come to the complex immigration planning. He came. I built a strategy for him, and I was like, look, I'll get you approved. Okay? And you guys know, O1 in my company is like 98, 99% approval rate. So almost all of them get approved. And his case was like above O1, very strong. And I told him, look, I'll get you approved. So just ask your employer to sign the freaking petition. They don't need to do anything. Just sign the petition that I will prepare for them. So he takes that to the employer. He takes my strategy to their attorneys. And their attorneys look at this and say, you're not going to get approved. And I asked them, why you guys think he's not going to get approved? And you know what the answer was? We read the law on USCIS website. So we don't see how this is going to get approved. Okay, so the 10 years of Stanislav experience in the field is versus what they read on the USCIS website. Okay, I get it. So that's what we're facing, guys. That's what we have to work with, okay? I have no comments for that. In O1 versus H1Bs, isn't O1 always better? Definitely. And it's probably faster and easier and yes, and much better option, because I know H1B has a wait time and a quote of 70, probably even yes, a year, I guess. Yeah, and the chances to win is like 10%. So absolutely, Danny, you got it. You got it. And those companies, they don't. So I don't know what to say. Denado, in case you do get E2, is it possible to change to a green card? And if yes, how difficult it is? Denado, you need to rewatch the stream because I already addressed this question in detail. Okay, let's substitution question. Siva, so we need to work physically in India company for 1 year, even if I'm having a scholarship. Absolutely, absolutely, Siva. You don't have to be like physically in India, but I don't know what your status in the US. You gotta have a work permit to be able to work for that company if you're in the US. So you could be like in Europe, in Great Britain, working for an Indian company and get a salary and everything. Yes, it should. Or if you worked a year for the past 3 years. So look, go back in time, and let's say if you worked in that company physically 2022 or 2021 for this purpose, that would suffice. That would suffice. Siva, okay, the last question, guys, the last question. Siva, yes, I understand. Thank you for clarification. And if we're physically present in the US and we don't need to file for L1 as I have H1B1. Okay, yes, if you have H1B, Siva, yeah, we cannot claim you worked in your Indian company because your H1B is for the specific company in the US. So yeah, you need to go back, work in your Indian company, and then we can file you for L1A or EB1C, depending on the scale of your companies. All right, guys, don't forget to fill out the questionnaire so I could review it and get back to you within 48 hours. If I get back to you and say, hey, Dido, hey, Denado, you guys have the potential because of this, and that, come to the complex immigration planning, okay? You'll meet with the data manager, we'll get all information from you, then you'll meet with me for the 30 minutes through Zoom. I'll build the strategy for you in writing, you'll get it after we finish, and you know, that would be the winning strategy for your case. All right, so do those things. I'll be more than happy to get to know you closer. Guys, see you next Thursday. I'm Stanislav Shamayev, a lawyer of the future. Your future begins here. Good luck.